Hi there, I'm Gary Bogard. I live in Gahanna, Ohio, a suburb of Columbus, and I brought my 1947 Dodge truck to the show this year. Yeah, I've been coming to the Goodguys for several years, and I built this truck about 10 years ago. It took me 3 years in the garage to build the truck, and it all started when I saw an ad on Craigslist for a 331 Hemi that had 30 hours on it. And I didn't quite understand that situation, so after a week or so of seeing the ad, I called the gentleman and said, why is this Hemi listed for 331 Hemi for 30 hours? And he said it's an industrial engine and it was on an air raid siren. And I thought, an air raid siren? I didn't have any idea of what this was, that Chrysler had built air raid sirens. So I did some research and found out that was legit. And I called Hotheads and asked them if I could use this engine in a car, or if there was something special about it. And they said no, there was really nothing special about it, that it could be adapted for car. They didn't need to put a special cam in it or anything. So I proceeded to stay in contact with the gentleman and went up and looked at the engine, and he allowed me to take the valve covers off of it, and it literally was a new engine. It still had oversplay on the rocker arms. So after I had purchased the engine, the only changes that I made to it was I bought a 4-barrel intake manifold and I put a new water pump in it. Other than that, this engine is still running with all the internals as it was in 1954 when it was built. So now I had an engine with nothing to put it in, so I got interested in rat rods, sort of, but I wasn't a rat rod person. I needed paint and interior and so forth. But I found this farm truck on eBay. It seemed like it was a good starter, and so I purchased that. Once I had the truck home, I realized there wasn't too much that I needed on that truck except for the cab, the grill shell, and the steering box, and a couple other miscellaneous items, because the frame was too big and too heavy, and it just had a 6-cylinder flathead motor, and that had to go to the recycler also. So I took the cab off. It was too high, so proceeded to chop the cab 4 inches. So now I had a motor and a cab, and then I proceeded to design a frame and total suspension for the car. I am an engineer, so I did lay that all out on CAD and how I wanted it to work, and I came up with coilovers with rocker arms for both the front and the rear suspension. This is how the suspension works. A lot of people don't quite understand it, but it is pretty straightforward. It's just a rocker arm in between the axle and the coilovers. So, as you can see, it does function. And it don't ride like your new Cadillac, but it does do the job. Okay. As I wanted to do is make the car as unique and as functional as possible. So one of the things that I did was install a clock in the middle of the steering wheel. The other thing is that, to keep track of where I'm going, I put a first generation GPS in, so I know where I'm going. And sometimes I drive it at night, so I thought I needed a dome light. So all the little things you expect in your modern car. I've been taking this around to shows for several years, and I always get the question of what is an industrial Hemi. And I'm glad to explain it to people because I had to learn it myself. A couple other unique features of the truck is I always wanted to have a unique hood ornament, so I designed my own hood ornament with a piston out of a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower and some wings. And then the other unique feature is that I put it on the third brake light for safety, and I got that off of a Grumman flexible bus. So there's some unique features. People like looking at the truck and smiling, and that's what I really enjoy.